So this week was a crazy one in the Apple world. We got iOS 26 Developer Beta 4 with some new updates and changes, and then the public beta finally released for all the different pieces of hardware to let people at least take a little bit less of a risk when it comes to installing these beta softwares, so we'll definitely touch on that. And then Apple released some services out of nowhere that are brand new that are actually extremely beneficial. So without further ado, let's recap everything in the Apple world in just a few minutes. Let's get into it. But now, before we continue, if you do enjoy these episodes of Friday 5, definitely consider subscribing to the channel because it helps motivate us to keep you guys as up to date as possible. But now let's talk about the first thing, which is the release of Developer Beta 4 as well as Public Beta 1. So to me, the more important of the two is the release of Public Beta 1 because that means more people will be taking that risk and jumping into the beta program, because we did have Developer Beta 1 that came out about a month ago, and then Apple did say a month later the Public Beta will release. If you guys do want to install it, it's absolutely free. You just have to sign up for their public developer program. I'll definitely leave a link down below on an article on how to do that exactly if you guys want to try it out. But again, this is still beta software, so please install at your own risk. I've actually had some detrimental moments with my iPad especially, which we'll touch on at the end of the video when it comes to the developer beta, that are still ongoing. So just be careful with what you're installing, what device you're installing it with, and just be ready to take the risk that, like, hey, you might have to reset your iPad or reset your iPhone to go back to iOS 18. But for those of you that did install it, leave a comment down below what you think, because we are getting the brand new redesign, so you're going to experience liquid glass for the first time. You're going to experience the new windowing mode on the iPad side. macOS got a huge overhaul. You even got tvOS. The AirPods Pro got a new feature like being able to use the stock as a shutter for your camera wirelessly, which is cool, and even got some new detection modes. So there's a bunch of new stuff, and I'll leave another link down below from all the updates that we saw from high-level ones as well as some more nuanced ones that I've noticed over the last month of using iOS and iPadOS 26. So definitely let me know, and like I said, get subscribed because we have a lot more that talks about all the different hidden features that are more beneficial in my opinion, or at least underrated, than those headlining features. So surprisingly enough, Apple actually gave us a brand new service, or at least a revitalized version. So if you're aware, when you do purchase an Apple product from Apple, you can buy something called AppleCare. And there's two different versions of it. The first one just kind of covers the wear and tear, the warranty, and things of that nature. And then you have the more expensive version, which covers things like theft, as well as completely breaking a device and being able to just replace it with a small little fee. So now Apple's revitalized that whole program, and they're doing it on a monthly basis, which you could do technically, but now it's on a monthly basis. You can move and swap in and out different products, and it's just one umbrella coverage. So to give you guys the details on this one, it's about $19.99 a month, so $20, and that covers up to 3 different devices. And if you want to add an additional device, it'll be $6 or $5.99 per device per month. Now this will include AppleCare Plus, which does include the extended warranty, the accidental damage, as well as battery replacements if your battery starts to kind of hold off, and then also includes the theft and loss for your iPad and Apple Watch, and not just iPhones. So that more premium version that did cover the loss and theft was only for the iPhones, but now that's coming to Apple Watches and iPads, which I think is a nice little addition because those are very portable devices. But then the biggest cherry on top is that you now have a way longer extended period to actually enroll into AppleCare. I think you had about 60 days, I could be wrong, leave a comment down below, but it was definitely a short window of time for you to be able to add AppleCare to that certain product. Now, as long as the product is working, you have a 4-year window to add that product into your AppleCare, which again, is something I've never seen before for that type of extended warranty. So you could have bought maybe an iPhone 13 3 years ago, as long as it's still working, you can add this to the service and then replace the battery, which would be technically cheaper to replace the battery by just paying $20 a month than it would to pay Apple to replace that entire battery. Just something to take note of. And the only limitation right now, which I hope gets fixed soon, is that you can't share this across family accounts. So if you do pay your $20 a month, those are for devices that are under your Apple ID. So even though I have a family account and I have other Apple IDs in my family account, I can't enroll my iPhone, my wife's iPhone, and maybe an iPad that's in the family. So for right now, you cannot share it, but eventually you should be able to, so definitely stay tuned. And then I wanted to have a quick section here about Apple's new Foldable because it should be coming out in 2026, and since I've been playing with the Samsung Fold 7, I've been in absolute awe by the hardware. Yes, of course, I miss some of the software amazingness of the Apple ecosystem, like the continuity camera, iMessage. There's some things that, yes, I of course miss, and it's not perfect in my situation. But the hardware is fantastic. The use cases by unfolding the phone, being able to have this kind of iPad mini style workflow where you can have multiple apps running at once, which I've been using more and more on a daily basis. The form factor is so thin and lightweight. It's just a great piece of machinery, and the hardware is fantastic. And I'm just excited for Apple to make their own version because I want iOS or some Apple OS on this thing. But again, shout out to Samsung for making a fantastic product. But according to TrendForce and Ming-Chi Kuo, we do have some confirmation of the screen display sizes. So it's going to be a 5.5-inch diagonal screen on the front and then a 7.8-inch internal screen when fully unfolded. So this is going to be a competitor to the Z Fold and not the Z Flip. We're going to be getting this sometime in late 2026 apparently, and it should be coming with an OLED panel to again help and reduce that kind of crease, because I think that's what's holding or hindering Apple to releasing a foldable, is the fact that the crease is still there no matter what you do. Even with Samsung's new version, the crease isn't that bad and you barely really notice it when it's open, but it is there, and if the light hits it correctly, you're going to notice that glare in the middle. So I think that's why Apple's been a little bit hesitant to really move forward with it, but this is probably going to be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 for a phone. And I mean, I would get it just because I do want to get one, but this is going to be very cost prohibitive for a lot of people, and not everybody's going to want to jump on an iPhone Fold. One more quick topic that I wanted to bring up is that now Qi 2 certification has been increased from 15 watts to 25 watts in terms of support and being able to charge things much quicker at that 25 watt speed. But I do want to give a little bit of a warning. A lot of these companies now, especially on Amazon, those no-name companies will kind of say that it's Qi 2, but it'll still be 15 watts. So just go online before you purchase anything and make sure that the Qi 2 wireless charger that you're buying is actually Qi 2 certified and it is at that full 25 watt speed. Some phones that will be supporting this already is the latest iPhones, the latest Samsung phones, like the Flip 7 and the Fold 7, so that's good to know that those already support the 25 watt wireless charging. But there's also rumors that Apple's foregoing Qi 2 completely, but instead they're going to be making a 45 watt MagSafe charging puck, which again, the faster, the better in my opinion. And then the last topic I wanted to briefly talk about is those woes that I've had in the beta program. Again, I signed up for the beta program and I knew that there were some possibilities of this being detrimental to my workflow, but there are two big things that have been happening on iPadOS. The first one has to be the external SSD support. External SSD support, while albeit is still there, like if you plug in an external SSD or a USB-C drive or something like that, it'll get recognized in the Files app, and for the most part you can move your files around. But when you are working on the files that are on there, so for instance, I'm in LumaFusion and I work off my SSD and I use those files on the SSD to edit photos and videos in LumaFusion. For some reason, it breaks. The videos can't be used, they're zeroed out, they're grayed out. It recognizes that there's a file there, but the file is, it's not really corrupt, but it's unusable, unfortunately. So that's happening, and it's not just a LumaFusion issue. I've done it with DaVinci, I've even done it with iMovie, I've done it with Final Cut Pro on both macOS and iOS. So that's just something that needs to get figured out. I think the external support for SSDs, or just storage in general, is a little bit iffy. And then secondly, screen recordings. So screen recordings and screenshots did get a revamp, right? They did get a new UI element, they got a little bit more featureful, and then screen recording specifically, Apple added a new feature in the settings that allows you to not only screen record in SDR, but now there's an option to screen record in HDR. And I don't know if that maybe changed the codecs or how it's encoded when you are using a screen recording software, but basically those files are unusable unless I put it through an encoding software like a Handbrake or something like that, so I cannot use those files in an editing software or anything like that, and it always ends up breaking the system. I hope Apple fixes this, and again, this is very nuanced and very niche. Not everybody's making iPadOS tutorial videos or iOS tutorial videos, but if you are in a situation like that, let me know in the comment down below. I'm always curious to know. But that'll do it for this episode of Friday 5, everybody. Like you saw, a lot happening between the betas, the public beta, the release of a new Apple service, which is always fair game. But let me know in the comment down below what you think, what you enjoyed this week, and also what I should check out moving forward in the following week. But that'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a dolphin. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.